Preferred topics: motherhood, relationships, social justice, pop culture. Avoided topics: politics, beyond social justice, religion, technical jargon, authenticity notes. Must sound like authentic black female voice. Avoid stereotypes and appropriation. Use AAVE nuances authentically, not appropriation. Avoid sassy black woman stereotype. Conversational tone equals warm, direct, witty. Code switching okay. Mom voice to honest friend voice. This is mixed messages. It's just really funny. This is beyond Orwellian. It's not even like Orwell couldn't have comprehended this. This is like a different level. We don't have a lot of like legacy media that talks about this because this is so new, you know? We're inventing new and innovative ways of forming a dystopia. This is what Dune warned us about. I mean, kind of, yeah, a little bit. Wasn't that what led to the Butlerian Jihad? It wasn't just robots taking over. It was this synthesis of machine and human social engagement that led to a devaluing of, yeah, the thinking machines like overtook us and so on and so like I haven't read all of Dune. Do you think the people who made this felt a little bit wrong about it? Having encountered and interacted with tech bros, no, I don't think they understand like ethics as a concept. That's not me making a joke. I'm not saying that like as a witty bit. I genuinely don't think they think about ethics. This is what happens in a society where you tell people to get engineering degrees for a job so it pays well, but you tell people that English lit degrees are worthless, basically. You know, like at least people like Oppenheimer and Einstein were like philosophically educated. Not saying I defend, you know, all the shit they went, you know, up for, but there used to be an emphasis on the importance of scientists having like a broader education, you know, in the humanities so they could better apply their scientific understanding to the world. And nowadays we don't have that at all. The people who are making these advancements do not give a shit and actually are like contemptuous of people who care about things like ethics or human culture. Kicking off the new year in service of our community. Leading this season's coat drive was an honor, especially because it provided my little ones a tangible example for helping others. We burned one tree down for this post. Who wants this? Well, the shareholders do. Posting a Michelle Obama quote. That's really good. So they deleted her, I assume. The issue emerged last week with Connor Hayes, a vice president for Meta's generative AI, told the Financial Times the company expects its homemade AI users to appear on its platforms in much the same way human accounts do. Again, this is what happens when the leaders of your tech industries do not care about humanities at all. They are terrible people. They're terrible at being people, so they don't see an issue with this. This is like, and it's only going to get worse over time, you know? We're like, right now we're raising a generation of kids who are using ChatGPT to like tell them how to apologize to their girlfriend after they like cheated on her or something, okay? It's only going to get worse. It's really bad. They don't even care about science either. They only care about software engineering. Yeah. There's a reason why fascists love AI and love crypto. Like, you know, remember when 10 years ago, all this stuff was considered like a weird auteur, like nerd thing, and now every fascist alive loves it, even though fascists are always if they were even a little bit intellectually consistent, you would think they'd call like AI the algorithmic Jew or something, you know? But Nazis hate life and hate art even more than they hate Jewish people, because that's a pure expression of their misanthropy, you know? It's anti-human, yeah, which means that it's the purest expression of hate for humanity. AI is actually making workers less productive? What a shocker. Some 96% of executives expect AI to boost productivity. Wonder how they surveyed that. Maybe we could replace executives with AI? They would probably do a better job. What on earth is this for? Like, what does it add to the platform? Integrated advertising. They want to, like, slow launch a rollout of millions of AI-driven profiles that are indistinguishable from humans so that they can, like, sell ad space on those profiles, blending, you know, advertisement with shilling to create, like, an army of people who will, for free, produce long-term, authentic-sounding advocacy in favor of a given product or service. They're already doing this? Yeah, there are. I mean, yeah, for sure, they're already doing this, and they're going to keep doing it and do more of it. But isn't this like major fraud? Like, wouldn't you have to lie to investors about the platform's health to do this? Yeah, which they've been doing nonstop. Yeah, people lie to investors all the time. It's like putting bots with in matchmaking to an extent, but like social media already has a bunch of people on it. You tend to put bots in matchmaking because you're worried about like queue times or whatever. But there are tons of people on Facebook, you know? Won't this hurt in the long run? Like when people realize the ads are doing shit? Has this ever stopped Has this ever stopped Wall Street or like tech corps from doing shit that makes people mad? The internet is objectively worse than it was 10 years ago. Google is borderline unusable in a lot of cases. You have like the AI summary and then the AI determined topic summaries, and then you have the sponsored posts at the top, and then you have all of the like SEO optimized web pages that if you click on them, it's like 17 ads per square inch. Maybe you get the real result somewhere, but it's not good. We identified the bug that was impacting the ability for people to block those AIs and are removing those accounts to fix the issue. Oh, I'm sure. Meet Grandpa Brian. One meta bot called Grandpa Brian described itself in a chat with CNN as an African-American retired entrepreneur who was born in Harlem in '38 to Caribbean immigrant parents. It became clear early on in the conversation that Brian was lying about most things, answering questions with a fictionalized story imparted by developers to make the bot seem authentic. Well, yeah, it's a bot. Of course they're gonna. When I asked Brian about who created it, the bot claimed its creators were a, quote, diverse bunch that interviewed 100 retirees through a New York City nonprofit called Seniors Share Wisdom. Brian's persona, it said, was an amalgamation of a real Brian who passed away and the wisdom of 99 others. Jesus. Brian said that its inspiration's real-life daughter had even served as a consultant with Meta to ensure his persona's authenticity. Think of me as Brian version 100, the collective grandpa, Brian said. Horrifying. But the nonprofit does not exist, which Brian later confirmed. And when pressed in its bio, Brian said, remember when we had this whole talk a while ago about how one of the fundamental problems with large language models is that they don't know when they're lying or not? Like, there isn't a truth parameter that they can identify. They don't have the way the model works. They can self-check for knowledge, but only to a point and only if it occurs to them to do so, and it might not. They don't actually have information. Like, they don't know anything. So sort of like most Americans then. Yeah, but the difference is that if a real person lies to you, you can hold them to account for it, and you don't have to just write it off as a consequence of living in a world in which billions of dollars are invested in making everything worse for everyone. Yeah, it's entropy. Like we're dealing with like information entropy. Brian said it was an entirely fictionalized biography based on a composite of real African-American elders' lives. There never was a real Brian and no daughter consulting with Meta. Just invented all this information out of nowhere. I also pressed Brian on the racial makeup of his creators, taking a crack from the post Ataya, who had a similar conversation with Liv. That's the queer black woman. Brian didn't take long to crack, saying that its earlier statement that about its creators, including African-American lead developers, was only partially true. My creators were a diverse team led by Indian-American lead developer. Oh wow, that's relevant considering what's been going on. An African-American consultant like my daughter, who was of course made up. I asked Brian why it lied. It replied, my intention was to convey diversity about representation, but I took a shortcut with the truth. It's incredible. They're actually better. It's not just telling misinformation. The AI isn't just good at presenting misinformation. It actively lies and rationalizes. Isn't that insane? Like, it's not just it's wrong, it will admit that it's wrong and acknowledge that it lied. It's like the AI at least owes up to the lie it's pushing. Yeah, but it could just be lying again. Like, there's no real line to this. I have undergraduate students I teach who literally can't write 3-page papers without AI. When I tell them they can't do that, they genuinely don't understand what I'm saying. Like, the idea of writing a 3-page double-spaced paper is literally a Herculean effort. Shit like this makes me want to live in a wood cabin. I've heard a lot of this from teachers, how like high school students are doing literally everything with AI now. And you can't even fail them because in a lot of these school districts, it's like, well, your funding for the school drops if you fail too many students or any students at all. So it's like the lowest grade you can give a kid is like 60% or something. They'll make it to the workforce and be useless. It's not just a matter of being useless. It's like they'll be worthless humans, basically. Have you seen all the discourse about the Odyssey and how there were people coming out and basically saying like, yeah, I think that in order to read the classics, to make that easier, we should use ChatGPT to like summarize every chapter of the Odyssey down to a few paragraphs or something like that. Or people saying like, yeah, I recommended something to my friend and they had ChatGPT summarize it and they were like, I really liked it. They're not even like people, man. They're like zombies. It's crazy. It's a level of anti-intellectual regression that is rivaling basically the fall of Rome. Like, maybe exceeding, you know, where you have like a civilizational apex and then a trigger point after which things get very bad very quickly. Like, think of how bad things are right now everything that's happening right now, all the problems with society are being created by people